Welcome everybody to a special edition of our Monday Night Shiur. Tonight, it's Chag Purim, and we have a very big zechut. We have the zechut that Chag Purim fell on Monday. If it wouldn't have fallen on Monday, we wouldn't do this today. And we have a lot of simcha that we're able to combine Limud Torah, Chidushim, with the Purim itself. Usually, Chag Purim turns into a very superficial holiday. It's very superficial. It turns into a holiday where we get so involved in the Ad de Lo Yada, where we become to a point where Mamash Lo Yada, like we don't know what we're doing over here. Because we're trying to be Yotzei Dechova, a Meimra B'Gemara in the Megillah. It says over there, Amar Rava said, you have to get so drunk, Ad de Lo Yada. What about the other four mitzvot? What, Limud Torah stops because of Ad de Lo Yada? So we're going to mention the story of Rav and Rav Zera right now. But before we do so, our shiur is sponsored Le'ilun Nishmat Yosef ben Yael Chini, Ruach Hashem Tinechem Began Eden, Vegam Tamara Bat Esther, Ruach Hashem Tinechem Began Eden. Amen. And we want to say a very big thank you to our Hover, our chef, Gabriel ben Avner. Hashem should bless you. Hashem Yitbarach bebracha, parnasa, refuah, yeshuot, Torah, mitzvot, maasim tovim, kelinoi chobil. Hashem shiveh otcha b'chol medem meikav, b'chol yeshua, kol b'aretz l'mai. Amen. The Gemara says a story. The Gemara says in Masechet Megillah, Rava with a hay. Rava with a hay. There's two Ravas. One with a hay, one with the aleph. There was a big shofet, judge in Klal Yisrael. Whoever learns the Tanakh, in the end of the book of Judges, he comes across the judge, the second to last judge. Gabriel, you're not listening. The second to last judge, his name was Eli. Not Eli, Eli, with an ayin. Eli, not Eli, Eli, with an ayin. He had two sons, Chofni and Pinchas. Two sons. Kohanim. They worked in Mishkan Shiloh. You know this Mishkan? Yes. When the Jews came to Eretz Yisrael, they set up the Mishkan in Shiloh. Shiloh is where, which tribe used to live in Shiloh? Yosef. I asked him, but you get a plus. Shiloh. Mishkan Shiloh was in the tribe of Yosef, right? And in Mishkan Shiloh, they set up a Mishkan that lasted for close to 390 years. No Beis HaMikdash, no nothing. Mishkan only. And the last shofet, the second to last shofet that was in charge of this Mishkan, his name was Eli. He was a descendant of the son of Aaron HaKohen. Remember, Aaron HaKohen had four sons. Names? Nadav, Avihu, Pinchas was the grandson. Elazar ve'Itamar. Nadav and Avihu, the two oldest sons, grandson. Elazar and Itamar, Nadav and Avihu, they brought a Ktoret, Esh Zara, and the night, in the morning of the coronation. What day was it? Plus 5?
Yom Kippur.
Nope. Which day of Nisan?
14.
Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Plus, that's already plus 6. If he gets the plus 10, that's going to be Ha'arat Yesod Abba, guys. Come on. Get with it. He, on the first day on the day of the coronation, they bring a Esh Zara. What happens? They confuse the coronation with Purim, and there was no Purim back then. They get a bit drunk, that the Gemara says. They were Shetuya Yayin. They had some nice homemade wine. And they said, listen, we want to serve Hashem. And when you serve Hashem, there's no Kohanim, Leviim, Israelim, Kohen Gadol. We got to go in there and just... Atakash. They were with... Orachai HaKadosh says they were in the essence of Avodat Hashem. But everything has to be done in the right place. They go inside the Kodesh HaKodashim with a Ktoret, and a fire came out from the Torah itself and burned them in the inside. They dropped, I don't want to say the D word. And then we had two other sons left, Elazar and Itamar. Elazar's son, his only son, was Pinchas. Phineas. Pinchas was born before the Kohanim became Kohanim, because so he technically stayed a Levi. It wasn't until he killed Zimri that Hashem blessed him. Hineni noten lo et beriti shalom. You get a plus. Beriti shalom. He got the shalom, but it was a half shalom. If you look at the Sefer Torah, the vav over there is vav ktiyah. What's vav ktiyah? It's a cut vav. It's not a full vav. That means it depends. If he does the kana'ut lichvod Hashem, he stays with the vav. If not, he doesn't get it. He gets it. He loses it. Pinchas is Kohen Gadol after his father Elazar. He's Kohen Gadol. At that time in Jewish history, you listening?
I'm listening, Kohen Gadol.
There was a shofet called Yiftach. He was not a Talmid Chacham. Yiftach HaGiladi. He was more of a strong man, a general, a gibor. He was a son of a mamzer woman. He was a mamzer. So the Mefarsh said, was he really a mamzer? Some say that he was just the son of the Pilegesh. Now, when you're the son of the Pilegesh, you don't inherit anything with the sons. He was kicked out. Second-class citizen.
It's like Zuz, right?
Yeah. It's like who?
Zuz.
Say who? Sus. I hope I didn't hear with the Z. Yeah. So he was Yiftach was a Ben Isha Zonah. The Navi says he was kicked out until the bad people came, Ammon and Moab, and then they needed somebody to lead them into the army. And he made a surah, Hashem, if you let me win, the first thing that comes out of my house is gonna be Korban.
His daughter.
What comes out? His wife. He wins. What comes out first? His daughter. And he's the only kid, only child. He tells his daughter, listen, I made a neder. I have to bring you up to a korban. And the Gemara says, what's the problem? You make a neder, what do? Hatarat. Nedarim. Now, when you're a nasi, when you're a shofet, to make hatarat nedarim, you don't just go to 3 rabbis. You have to go to the Kohen Gadol. Who was the Kohen Gadol at that time? Pinchas. So Pinchas said, why should I go to him? He needs me. Yiftach said, why should I go to him? I'm the Nasi. So he said, each one said, you don't need me, I don't need him. At the end, this girl, halach kapara. One says she was sacrificed, one says she died childless, which is considered dead. 2 opinions in the Gemara. Hashem said, Pinchas, you lost your ability to be Kohen Gadol. He loses the neshama, and that neshama, which is the neshama of Eliyahu HaNavi, comes back in a Gilgul as who? None other than Eliyahu HaNavi. But before he does that, and why am I saying this? Because that Eliyahu HaNavi ends up becoming Charvona. Who's Charvona? Everybody say, who's Charvona? Begam Charvona, Zachur Latov. That's what happens when you read the Megillah too quickly. But before we get to that, Eli. Before we get to Charvona, Eli HaKohen becomes Shofet 4 or 5 generations afterwards. He lived till 120 plus. His 2 sons, Chofni and Pinchas, were not good guys. I'm not going to tell you what the Gemara says, the Averot that they did. It's not our discussion today. But Chofni and Pinchas lose the Kehuna. But because Pinchas messed up the original Pinchas Kohen Gadol, the Kohen Gadolship went from the sons of Elazar to the sons of Itamar. And that Itamar had a grandson named Eli, and that was the Rebbe of Shmuel Hanavi. Shmuel Hanavi. What's so special about Shmuel Hanavi? Before we discuss that, about Shmuel Hanavi, this Eli HaKohen, listen very carefully. Eli HaKohen, he was told, because his sons are doing an Avera. What was the Avera? I hope you guys will hear this without making your own conclusions. There's 2 opinions in the Gemara. One opinion in the Gemara says that they were Listen, it's Purim, so Hashem is going to give us kaf zechut that we say this, that they were doing averot with a woman that came to bring their korbanot to the Mishkan.
Woman.
I'm not going to say what the avera was. Yeah. Chofni and Pinchas. Another opinion says it wasn't that avera that they were doing. This is the sons of the Kohen Gadol and the Shofet. Another opinion says no, because the Gemara says that I say it. Now don't come with your own conclusions over here, because you have to understand this with a lot of koved rosh. You got to wear the Bukhari and Kalpoch before you come with a conclusion over here. Another opinion said they used to take the meat before it was cooked.
Yeah,
when you bring a korban, you have to wait. You have to wait till the korban is cooked, and then you take the korban. They wouldn't. They were very gluttonous. When they used to see basar, before the basar was ready, they said, "Give me the piece of basar." So it's two opinions over here in the Midrash. Where'd you read this? In the Gemara. So you do like the Gemara. We caught you. So the Gemara says that they used to take the piece of the meat. Now it's interesting how the Gemara compares eating meat when it's raw with doing an avera with a. I'm not gonna say exactly what happened over there. Hashem said, Eli, because you weren't a good father. You hear? You were not a good father. This is the Shofet and the Kohen is Baal Ruach HaKodesh. He's a Navi. Because you did that, every son that's born from your descendants will die before he's 20 years old. You know what I'm telling you, Rabbi say? Every son that's born from your descendants, every Kohen from this line of Itamar, will die before the age of 20.
It's a punishment?
Punishment, absolutely. For till the end of time.
Wow.
Every Kohen that's born from this line has to die before the age of 20.
Like a cursing.
It's a punishment, not a curse, it's a punishment. What's between a curse and a punishment? A curse means I'm doing revenge. A punishment means I'm just making you cheese. I'm cleaning you. It was a punishment. Because it says their averot went up to the Shamayim. Because they ate meat they took the meat before it was cooked. I'm not going to get into exactly what happened over there. It's very deep over there. Ariya Kadosh discusses it. We cannot discuss it today, even though Purim would be the best time to discuss it, I think. When we're Bepisum, especially when we're eating basar, right?
They ate it or they just took it?
They took it. Not even they eat it. They took it. Now, what's interesting, Rabbi Gabriel, from their descendants came out two big rabbis who ended up writing the Gemara. From Eli. One was Rava, and his nephew who's Abaye.
Nephew?
Rava's nephew, Rava, with a hey. His nephew was Abaye, and these two rabbis are basically one of the pillars of the Talmud. The Talmud. Rava, you listening?
Yes.
Lived till the age of 40. Abaye lived till the age of 60. So the Gemara says, how did Rava live to the age of 40? Wasn't he from the descendants of Eli? He has to die before the age of 20. So the Gemara says, when will they die before the age of 20? When they don't learn Torah. But the zechut of learning Torah adds 20 more years. So he passed away at the age of 40. So why did his nephew Abaye live till the age of 60? Double. Because he learned Torah and he did chesed. So the Gemara says, what was his chesed? What chesed did he do? Tzedakah? No. Abaye had a Rebbe, Rav Yosef. His name was Rav Yosef. This Rav Yosef, he was good friends with Abaye's uncle, Rava. When their Rebbe passed away, Rav Yehuda, Mipumpadita, there was a kasha. Who's going to take over the yeshiva? So they sent a question to Israel. And Israel said, what's the difference between the learning of Rava and Rav Yosef? So the Bavel answered back, Rava, he doesn't know the whole Torah. But what he knows, it's like he's taking two mountains and crushing them with his two hands, and he could come out with a svara A logical answer, that's the answer. He's Oker Harim. He's very analytical. Rav Yosef is like Sinai. He's encyclopedic. He knows all the halachot, but he's not mepulpal. He doesn't know how to be Oker Harim. Who's better? The person who's like a guy who takes mountains and crushes them? He's analytical? Or Rav Yosef, who's encyclopedic? What did Eretz Yisrael tell them back? Rav Yosef, you're saying. It's true Sfaradi. The Gemara says, Israel answered them back, Rav Yosef is better to be Rosh Yeshiva. Because everybody needs to know the halachic answer at the end of the day. You better pick the encyclopedic guy than the analytical Rosh Yeshiva. But Rav Yosef, like the true Sfaradim, he believed in mazalot. He asked the mazalot, if I become Rosh Yeshiva, because the halacha is, it's a halacha, once you become a king, a rabbi, head of something, you lose your life. Because it comes with a lot of responsibility, stress. With a lot of stress. Look at every politician. Lahavdil elef million billionaire trillionaire the Insof Havdalot. Once they become somebody, Secretary of State, President, you see them, they all turn white. It's a stressful job. You have a lot of responsibility.
It's the money. They don't know what to put the money on.
Okay. So he asked the Mazalot, what happens if I become king? So if you're going to become king, Rosh Yeshiva, you're going to only rule for 2.5 years. After that, Shalom on Israel. So to Rav Yosef, they said, so why should I be Rosh Yeshiva? Ulad Ba'amo, what do I need this stuff for? So he said to the Rava, you take the first. You go first. Rava became Rosh Yeshiva for 22 years. 22 years. And then after that, Rav Yosef became Rosh Yeshiva for another 2.5 years. That means he gained because he became Anav. He was Anav. He was humble and he let him go first. He gained another 22 years of life. And Rava passed away at the age of 40. Now this Rav Yosef, when he became Rosh Yeshiva, he got very sick. He got so sick that he forgot all of his Torah. But it doesn't mean the yeshiva kicked him out, Chas v'shalom. He was Rosh Yeshiva. Who reminded him of all of his Torah? Abaye. Rava's nephew. That was the chesed that he did. For helping his Rebbe relearn the Torah that he forgot while he was sick, he got another 20 years of life. Wow. And he lived till the age of 60. What killed Abaye at the end? The Gemara says if you marry a woman that had two husbands already that died, you're not allowed to marry her again.
Kill the third one.
So she's gonna kill the third one for sure. If a woman marries a guy, he died. Wait, slicha. Pahalacha. Siman tet zayin. Even Ezer, huh? Yehuda married one. Why are you saying two?
What about his children? They died.
Ha, it's a proof to me, not a proof to you.
But we got married. He lived a long life.
Yeah. He did live a long life.
Yeah.
You're asking a good question, but by then it was different. Why? Because Yehuda didn't want to marry her, and when he found out that it was Tamar, according to Rashi, he didn't know her again. Yes or no? He didn't stay married to her.
He stayed married?
He did not stay married to her. Look at Rashi on the Pasuk.
Married to who? Sorry.
To Tamar.
No, that's not for you.
Alright, let's not get into this right now because it's going to get a bit too deep. Anyways, let's get to Abaye right now. Abaye was married to a girl named Choma. The Gemara says she was so beautiful, this Choma. If a guy would just see her skin, he would get enamored with her.
It's like Yosef.
I don't want to compare it to Yosef.
No, I heard.
I know you like the name Yosef.
No,
but he was... Now what happened? This Choma married a guy. He married her. Raf. He died. Misheberach. Kaddish al Israel. He married a second guy. She married a second guy also. Misheberach.
Yeah.
Now usually chazakah is how many? 2 or 3?
3 times.
3 times. But by death, it's 2 times. So the rabbis told Abaye, now they made a shidduch with Abaye. They told Abaye, don't marry this girl. 2 guys already went to Gan Eden because of her. Her mazal is not good. Don't marry this woman. He said, no, chazaka is how much? 3. Married her? Shalom on Israel.
He also died.
Also, Abaye passed away at the age of 60. He passed away. Then, Abaye's kids didn't want to give her the ketuvah, the money. When her husband passes away, you got to pay the woman up. She went to Rava, not his uncle, Abaye's friend. His name was Rava with an aleph. Went to him and he said to him, my husband left me a ketuvah, pay it up. He says, how much ketuvah? He says, every day my husband would give me a bottle of wine. Among other things, a bottle of wine. That was considered expensive ketuvah. So Rava says, how big was the bottle? So she picked up her hand to show him, like this to this, and her shirt fell. From the skin, Rava, the writer of the Gemara, went
Tuku. Dilashraf.
Dirashraf. He said, I'm going to take her as my second wife. Yeah, he wanted to. What did he do? The Gemara says, Masechet Yevamot, he went to his wife. He says, listen, it was the middle of the day. I need to be with you. Yeah, I'm not going to go. Let's not get into the details right now. She was the daughter of Rav Chasda, Rosh Yeshiva of Surah. She said, what? You're Tzaddik Yesod Olam. How could you, in the middle of the day, Tzaddikim don't do such things? She found out from him that this Choma came to the Beit Din. What did she do? She was a tzaddiket. She took her shoes, she went to the Beit Din and she beat her out of town. She says, you killed already 2 men. You're not going to kill my husband too. Tasvidanya, get out of here.
How was nice that
Huh? That she was Sirozna lady. She was a serious woman. She took her husband and Rava lived very long life.
What about the ketubah?
I don't know. The Gemara doesn't say what happened to her ketuvah at the end. Probably she got her ketuvah, probably, but maybe she didn't. I'm thinking I didn't learn the sugya at the end. Why? Because maybe Abaye wasn't supposed to marry her. Because the halacha is if a woman marries 2 men and the husband dies, you're not allowed to marry her. So Abaye shouldn't have married her, so she loses her ketuvah. But I cannot tell you the halacha l'maaseh because it's not. I cannot tell you whatever I didn't learn b'yisodiyut from the foundation. Okay, my point is, let's go back to Abaye. Abaye gained another 20 years of life from doing what, Rabbi Isai? Chesed. No, teaching. What was the chesed? Reteaching his Rebbe Torah. Not chesed of tzedakah, this, that. But just the chesed of giving my time to another person, giving him my time, giving him my shefa, giving him my neshama, gained him another 20 years of life. True, at the end he passed away a very tragic way, but the whole Gemara is called Havayot Abaye Verava. The whole Gemara is called the conversations of Abaye and Rava. Now let's look at Purim. What's the whole mitzvah of Purim? What is it? Basar v'yayin. En simcha ela basar v'yayin.
To be happy.
To be happy.
To give a gift.
To give a gift. What's the common denominator out of all this?
Happy.
Happiness.
You survived.
I want to ask you a question. Do I get happiness by taking, or I get happiness by giving?
Both.
Two-way street.
By giving.
More by giving.
What is giving called? Chesed. The whole mitzvot of Purim is what? Chesed. Do you know what the Shulchan Aruch says? Or Obadiah brings this down, I'm sorry. Let's say a person wants to do the Seudah of Purim, and he's alone. Is he allowed to do Seudah Purim alone?
Yes.
No.
What? Really?
Because it's not Simcha. Simcha is only something that you share with another person. Mishloach Mot, what am I doing? I'm sharing with somebody else. Matanot Evanim, I'm sharing myself with somebody else. What's the last sentence of the Megillah? V'dover shalom lechot. What is shalom? What's peace? Why was the second temple destroyed? Sinat? Hinat. What was the first miracle that happened before the building of the second temple? Purim. Chag Purim, which was dover shalom lechot, to make peace between one another. Unfortunately, in the Megillah, we already find the destruction. Who here could tell me what's the last sentence of the Megillah where we already see that the Sinat Chinam was already planted over there between Mordechai and the Yehudim? What does it say by Mordechai at the end when he becomes vizier? Mordechai Ratzui Lerov Echav. He was only wanted by most of his brothers. What does it mean? He was only liked, wanted by most of his brothers. Mordechai. It means over there. It means over there that the Sanhedrin didn't agree with him. Sanhedrin says, "Why are you making a whole misiba over here? Why are you making a whole party over here?" Mordechai wanted to make the Yom Tov of Purim as a Yom Tov, Rabbi Isai. Mamish a Yom Tov. He wanted to make it lighting candles, no melacha, esh ba'esh. What did the Chachamim tell him? Take it easy. You're alone on this, Mordechai. That's why one of the reasons why the Megillah is not called Megillat Mordechai, because he wasn't. The whole Megillah of Purim wasn't agreed upon by all the Chachamim. Why? Chachamim said, "You're making a miracle over here, but you started the whole problem." It was so hard for you to bow down to him. But why? But Mordechai was right or wrong? Right. Of course. Why are we celebrating till today? Why was Mordechai right? Why didn't he bow down to Haman? Anybody here could give me a chidush?
Because idol worship, you're not allowed.
Idol worship, but he wasn't really an idol. I'm going to give you a deeper thing. Idol worship is when you bow down to mamish an idol, to mamish an idol. But if you bow down to a human being, let's say you see a king and you bow down to a king, is that idol worshiping? No, it's not idol worshiping.
The owner was bowing down.
First of all, I like that.
The owner does
now you said something good. Now you said something good. Abraham bowed down to the chivi when he bought the Ma'at Machpelah. Yes or no?
But he was a Baal Gava.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Haman was who?
His slave.
His slave.
Hey, but what nation was he from? Amalek. You know, Amalek is Otiot Amak. If you treat your Amak right, it's going to be Amak. If not, it's going to be Amalek. You understand? So you have to treat your Amak correctly. You understand what I'm saying? So, why didn't he bow down to Haman? Because Haman was from the Amalekim. And who was the only Shevet that didn't bow down to Amalek? Binyamin. Which tribe was Mordechai from? Binyamin. Well, I'm going to bow down. My ancestor didn't bow down to Esav. I'm going to bow down to this. I don't want to say the word. I'm going to bow to him. Chachamim said, you should have bowed down to him. You would have saved us this whole problem. Mordechai said, no, I'm not. I'm not going to bow down to him. But still, the Megillah wasn't named after Mordechai. Why? But I want to let's leave this place with a chidush, Rabbi say. At the end of the day, the Gemara says the Chachamim said Mordechai was wrong. He should have bowed down. He caused this problem, Mordechai, by not bowing down to Haman. Okay, you bow down, feed the guy's ego a bit. Better yet, leave the Sha'ar HaMelech. Why are you standing in the gates of the king? You don't want to bow down to him. Leave. Yes or no? Why are you standing over there? Yeah, all the Jews are always standing in the wrong places. Always looking for bayot.
No, they were selling business people.
There was no business over there, trust me.
He was right in his face.
What?
He was in his face.
Right, exactly. And not only that, he comes out of the mishteh. Mordechai, lo kam v'lo zak mimenu. Well, he puts his... No, come on, Rabbi Yisai. Why are you pissing? Why are you getting the guy? Why are you messing with the... Why are you poking the bear? I'm going to tell you the answer. None of you guys want to tell me an answer. Some nice answer I thought of. They asked the Chachamim, in the Gemara, they asked Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, what's the reason Am Yisrael... By the way, I want to tell you guys one thing. Test me if I'm wrong. Only one time in history were the Jews under a complete threat of annihilation under one man.
Him.
Not Hitler. Chas v'shalom.
Him.
Lavan, we're not. No, you're getting before Klal Yisrael. Yeah, we're talking after Am Yisrael was a nation. Only in the time of Achashverosh. Only in the time of Achashverosh. Yeah, but Bilam was not a physical threat. Right? It was not a physical threat. The only time where a man had a complete capability to get up and to kill every Jew on the face of the planet was Achashverosh. Only Achashverosh. The Gemara asked, the Talmidim of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai asked him, why did Hashem do that?
Why?
So the Gemara says because they went to the party of Achashverosh.
They ate.
But they said over there, what were they supposed to do? You're getting a invitation by the king. If you don't show up, you know what that means.
You're dead.
You're dead.
Anyway.
Anyways dead. Of course they're gonna. Now that who is the mashgiach?
Mordechai.
Mordechai Yehudi. Now come on, if the mashgiach is Mordechai, you're not gonna show up. Of course you're gonna show up. It's true the waitresses. It's true the waitresses over there weren't the best waitresses. Nachon, v'chule. But still,
One of them was his daughter, no?
who? Mordechai's?
Ashverosh.
Achashverosh's daughter? I never heard of that one. But whatever the case, the Talmidim Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says it cannot be that that's the real reason why they were sentenced to such a punishment. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says a different answer. Listen to this. Levi, you didn't hear this answer before. Or maybe you did. Could be you did, you forgot. Achashverosh was the domot, the son-in-law, of a man called Belshazzar. Belshazzar was the father of Vashti. Gemara says Vashti was one of the 5 most beautiful women that ever lived. Esther was not a beautiful woman. She was Yirakroket. She was homely looking, very plain. The whole miracle was v'tisachen v'chesed lefanav. Suddenly you look at it, wow. She never wore makeup. You see in the Megillah, right? All the women for 6 months, they're bathing them in balsam oils. They're giving this, that. Esther's like, listen, this thing is not for me. She doesn't bathe in anything. She doesn't dress in anything. She doesn't ask anything from Ashgaz, Saris HaMelech Shomer HaPilokshim. She says nothing. The whole story was a miracle. Homemade, but mamash homemade. Chonegi to the max. The whole miracle, it was a very big miracle over here. That Achashverosh had thousands of wives. He had harems upon harems. This guy. To pick such a woman to be his queen, the queen regent, was a miracle. That's why Mordechai was in the Shara HaMelech, because he knew something is up over here. There's a reason why she was picked. Because it was that's why he even let her out of the house. Because he's like, Esther will never be picked as the girl. She's so homely, you know? She never wore makeup. She didn't get dressed. She didn't wear bisamim, perfume. She was picked anyways. Has to be something is good. Mi odeh im le'ed kazot higat lemalchut. But before she wasn't, okay,
That's
still not materialistic.
That's why he loved her.
No. Listen. Achashverosh was a materialistic man. Trust me. He didn't look for something that's not materialistic. And then if he was a Jewish man, then I would say maybe you're right. Maybe kulehai ve'ulai. Okay. What happened was before the story of Achashverosh, Vashti was the complete opposite of Esther. She was mamish, one of the 5 most beautiful women to ever live. If Achashverosh, this behema, the Gemara says he was like a dov shakul. You know what a dov shakul is? Like a big grizzly bear. He was like 300 pounds, big. Just the thought of being married to such a man, a woman could faint on the spot. You understand? This guy wanted materialism. That's why he called the bookkeepers. Because this guy, when he went to sleep at night, trust me, to wake this guy up, you would have to poke him with a knife. And the fact that he didn't sleep at night was a chidush for him. He just couldn't fall asleep. Why doesn't he sleep? He ate well at night. Basar, this acid reflux, no problem. He had anything he wanted. He couldn't sleep. So this guy was as materialistic as you get. Not only that, I'm gonna tell you something. Maybe you missed this in the Megillah. After he did a beauty pageant when he picked Esther, then he did a second one. He did another beauty pageant. Why? Esther wouldn't say where she's from. She said, maybe I'm gonna make another woman as the queen. I'm gonna force her to speak. This guy was as materialistic as you get. You understand? Trust me. But before Achashverosh married Vashti, Belshazzar was the last king of Babylon. He was the grandson of Nebuchadnezzar. When Nebuchadnezzar became king over the whole empire, the Babylonian Empire, he made a tzelem, a big tzelem. Tzelem, but prasti, a statue, a avodah zarah, but not a regular one. It stood. He took the tzitz of the Kohen Gadol, the tzitz, Kodesh LaHashem. He put it in the mouth of the tzelem.
Oh.
And that tzelem would speak, Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher hotzeticha me'eretz Mitzrayim. I am Hashem your God that took you out of Mitzrayim. And he said, whoever doesn't bow down to this tzelem, echad dato la'amit, everybody's chayav mitah. And all the Jews bowed down to the tzelem.
Because they know?
Because they had no choice, they said. If they're gonna kill them. They didn't kill, only 3 men gave their life to death. Hananiah, Mishael, and Azaret. Now, Daniel wasn't there. Nebuchadnezzar liked him, he sent him away. But Hananiah and Mishael and Azariah, they went into the fire, they came out alive. But all the other Jews, Sanhedrin, everybody, bow down. Mordechai said to the Sanhedrin, why are we in this problem in the first place? Because we all bow down. If I'm going to bow down too, there's never going to be a way out of this. The only way for us to get out of this, if I go against Haman. And if I go against Haman and I don't bow down, then Haman is going to fall. That's why, Rabbi Isai, when Esther fasted for 3 days, she came. Whose idea was it for the Jews to fast for 3 days? Whose idea was it? Not Mordechai's idea. It was Esther's idea. On the 3rd day, she comes inside. She was half dead. You know what it is to fast for 3 days? You're a skeleton. You're a skeleton. 3 days. Three full days.
What about nighttime?
Nighttime, and kids, women, children, everybody. And today, it's not like today. We fast, we go to sleep half of the day. You go to Yom Kippur, Shacharit comes, everybody's in shul. By the time it's mincha time, then Na'ilah, everybody's there for the shofar. It wasn't like that back in the day. Back in the day, Atzom was Atzom. They would cry, wear sack on their skin.
It was Pesach, no?
It was Pesach too. Imagine what it was to give up Pesach. They all fasted. Esther goes in on the 3rd day. The Gemara says she was so weak. Hashem had to send 3 malachei asharet to hold her up. She was about to faint. A woman to fast for 3 days. It's not like a guy with a lot of his carbs. You know, he has a lot of stacked up glucose over there. She comes inside. This Rasha, Achashverosh, wanted to kill her on the spot. Hashem sent Malach Gavriel to take out his golden scepter. The golden scepter was only like 2 amot. She was 60 amot away from Achashverosh. This is the 2nd time Hashem did in history where Hashem elongated something. And Hashem sent a miracle and the scepter elongated 60 amot. Vatiga berosh hasharvit. This golden scepter is the secret of the Torah She'Ba'al Peh and Torah She'Bichtav. It says over there, she gave her life b'misirut nefesh. Mordechai didn't give his life to Misirut Nefesh. That's why it's not called Megillat Mordechai. She gave her life to Misirut Nefesh. Now I want to ask you guys a question. Achashverosh suddenly sees her. She looks half dead, half pale, no makeup, no nothing. Suddenly, v'tisachen v'chesed lefanav. She finds favor in his eyes. You listening?
I'm listening. I'm favoring her.
Favor in his eyes, and he says to him, "What do you want?" She says, "I have a party for you." Who to invite? You and Haman. They come. She says, "I'm going to see a sign from Hashem. If I see Achashverosh already is choshed, he's suspicious of Haman, it's a sign that Haman is going down. I'm going to ask him to kill Haman. If not, I'm going to ask to go to the next day." She comes. What does Haman do with Achashverosh? Drinks. They're having kaif. Haman and Achashverosh are good old buddies. Achashverosh says, Esther says, "This is the Yeshua I'm looking for. This is not a sign. I need a sign from Hashem that my wish is going to come true." She says, Achashverosh gets dressed. Esther, what do you want? He says, "Come tomorrow." What happens that night? Balayla nadeda shnat hamelech, and Haman gets crazy. I need to kill Mordechai tomorrow. I can't wait till next year. I need to kill him tomorrow. Comes in. What should I do for the man who did good to me? Haman says, it must be me. He says, no, it's to Mordechai. When Esther saw that Haman is already getting his downfall, she says, that's the sign I was looking for. Now I can ask Achashverosh to knock him out, to kill him up.
Checkmate.
But remember, Achashverosh still loved Haman. He was angry at Haman. He was willing to forgive him. That's why he went to the garden. When he says, this is the man that wants to kill me and my community, my nation. What does Achashverosh do? He doesn't say hang him right away. He goes to the garden. Why does he go to the garden? To calm down a bit. He needs Haman. Haman is his trusted advisor. He helps him with 127 provinces, 27 countries, and 29 countries. What does Hashem do? He sends Malach Gabriel, says the Gemara, and he throws Haman on top of Esther. And then Achashverosh really gets angry. He says, now you want to kill the queen in the house? That's already going too far. Hashem sends Charvona. Who's Charvona? In the beginning of the Megillah is one of the 7 advisors. But he's a goy. The Gemara says it wasn't Charvona. Charvona is Gematria Eliyahu Hanavi Zachor Latov. The whole job was too good for a goy to do. The Gemara says Eliyahu Hanavi comes, kicks Charvona into a bathroom. Just shut your mouth, stay over here. He dresses up like Charvona and he comes to Achashverosh. And he says to Achashverosh, oh, by the way, you know what he wanted to do? He wanted to hang Mordechai, the one who wanted to save your life. And he's already angry. He says, in a fit of rage. And we already know he's crazy. When he gets angry, he's angry. He'll kill anybody. He says, hang him on that. So who saved the whole day? Charvona. And that's why we end the whole story. And that's why the last Navi says what? Who? Eliyahu Hanavi. And Eliyahu Hanavi is inside Shmuel, who's the student of Eli. Who's the descendant of Eli? Rava. And what did Rava say? On Purim, you have to get what? Drunk. Because if you don't get drunk, when you read the Megillah, you only see the basic story. You need to open up your da'at. Open it up. And only when you open up your da'at, you figure out Charvona is really Eliyahu Hanavi. And the whole story of Haman falling is really Malach Gabriel. And the scepter was really not supposed to be. And him picking Esther was not supposed to be. And Mordechai sitting in the shower was not supposed to be. It looks like Teva. But if you really look into the story, nothing here is Teva. Everything is the Melech. And when you see the Avodah of the Melech, and then you get to the level of what? Simcha. And then after you finish reading the Megillah, now you could have a Mishteh Yayin. Before the Megillah, you can't have a Mishteh Yayin. Before the Megillah, you can't have a meal. Why? Not just Mas Meshu. You don't understand why to become Mas. You don't know why to get drunk. But when you read the story, wow, Hashem saves them just like that. Then you start to think to yourself, the whole Megillah, what does Hashem do to me in my life? I was drunk once and when I was driving back to a wedding, Hashem saved me. I didn't get into an accident. I was almost in a lawsuit. Hashem saved me. My kid was in a problem. I was sick. How many miracles Hashem does to me? How can I not love Hashem? Then you think to yourself, how many problems I have in my life? But I think they're problems. But really, what's behind the whole story? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then I say to myself, what? I have to love Hashem. And when I find out the reason, Gabriel, that I have to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then what happens? I become besimcha. And only when I'm in the simcha of loving Hashem, then I can have some yain. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen. Amen. Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashia Omer.